Alright, ladies and gentlemen, well, I'm just going to jump right into this topic. This is something that we need to start talking about. We need to start discussing, where we're at, what we need to do, what should happen about the new Halloween film, which I do believe will get made. Just don't hold your breath on the time of it. Now, I've already made a video about my thoughts on the upcoming movie, but let's talk a little more in detail about some certain things. Let's talk about who should direct this movie. And the reason I'm making this video is somewhat in a response to a friend of mine, the Michael Myers fanatic, or the Myers fan 25. Shout out to you, sir. Link will be in the description. What I want to talk about is something he touched base on. In his video, he basically was talking about who should not direct the next Halloween film, and that was Mr. Zombie. Now, I totally agree. I think he's had his chance. It didn't exactly work out the way I think he wanted it to, or the way the people who were, behind the making of the films wanted it to, as we've talked about, and the outcome, especially with Halloween 2. Now, what that led me to think about next is, keeping the producers away from Rob Zombie, all about that. I think a lot of us would agree with that, but who should the producers go to see about making this film? I basically have, in essence, two choices. My first choice would be this. Give it to somebody who's hungry for the project, who's got a respect and an admiration for the franchise. I don't think we necessarily have to know who this guy is. What I mean by that is somebody out there is hungry to make this film and has the passion and the drive to do this film. Maybe Carpenter can help us find somebody. Maybe he can help find the right person that's going to have the respect and admiration for not only the film, but for the fans of the franchise. I think that is a very important thing. I want somebody who is going to, as I just said, respect us, respect Michael Myers, but also not be afraid to put his own touch on this series. Don't be hesitant and afraid because of the backlash from Halloween 2, specifically of Rob Zombie's movie, because I don't want anyone to think that you can't put your own artistic style on the Halloween film. I don't want anybody to think that. As a matter of fact, that's really what made a lot of the Halloween movies throughout the series so great, there was a slightly different direction and touch from the directors throughout the series. You wouldn't want the same guy to just direct every single movie, at least not in my opinion. Let somebody with a little bit different style get in there. There's another person I think might be okay to do this project. This guy has been making horror films over the last decade plus now and been doing a very good job. He's got a very good rapport with horror fans. He's got a good track record as far as making scary movies. Now, some people might think, whoa, that's an odd choice, but you never know. That man's name is James Wan. I think he could do this. Now, he hasn't done what we've called a slasher movie in the last 10, in his career possibly. What he has done, let's look at the track list for James Wan. He directed the original Saw, The Conjuring, Insidious. He's produced a number of good films, but he knows how to film a scary movie. He knows how important cinematography is. Obviously, if you've watched The Conjuring, regardless of whether I think that's a great movie or not, what I'm getting at is Michael Myers, to me, is a monster of the cinematic frame, and the way Carpenter really made Michael scary was the use of cinematography and things like that, and I really see that done well in James's films. I'm not saying that's my number one choice, but maybe you guys can come back with me in the comments section and we can discuss that. You know, I don't know a whole lot. Here's the problem. I don't know a whole lot of directors anymore. I don't really think directors get, you know, as famous as they once did back in the day. It just seems like the whole landscape of the movie business is different. You know, but I do think that there are great people out there to make this film. Now, the perfect person, in my opinion, we probably don't know who he is. He may not be famous, but there is somebody out there with the drive and passion to do this movie. That's who we need to get, without a shadow of a doubt. We need the person who's gonna give it the respect, the drive that it needs, and somebody that Carpenter can get along with good, because I think that's important as well. You know, but the only person I can think of that has a name to themselves would be James Wan, and I think he could do this. But, you know, what do you guys think? I think it's safe to say that a lot of us would agree, going back to the Myers Fans channel and most recent video, I think a lot of us would agree that keeping away from Rob would be the absolutely smartest thing to do. This is a pretty big drought we've had in the Halloween franchise, and I don't think that it should be over yet. I think there's still a lot of story to tell. So that's really all I have to say, but it is important. So in the comments, I'd love to hear from you guys. Who do we think should get this movie to direct it? We know that Carpenter's, you know, a busy guy. He's on tour doing his shows. He's not going to direct this movie, but he is going to executive produce it. Now, that's a very loose term in movies. That basically just means one or two things. You're signing off the okay to make this movie, or you put money up yourself to get this movie made, from what I understand. Now, with Carpenter, I really just hope that he has the drive to help make this movie as good as it can be, and I think he does. But that's all I wanted to talk about, was who we think could be the director of this movie. I have a lot of faith in Blumhouse. I don't have a huge track record from them. I've done a little bit of research, but I think they can get this movie done. I'm sick and tired of hearing about this and then just getting the ball dropped over and over again. But who do you guys think should direct this movie? I'd love to know. Who should we get in the director's chair? That is the topic of today. So, we'll talk about that, and we'll see you guys next time. Christian Hannah Horror is going to be back very soon. We're going to talk about some more topics that are pretty important. But for right now, that's going to be it. So, let me know what you guys think. I'd really love to hear from y'all. Alright, y'all be good, and we'll see y'all next time.